I want to talk first about copying. Copying is how we learn to make art. I mean, amateurs plagiarize, artists steal. So from time to time, we come up with rules to regulate what kind of copying can happen when within the contours of the supply chain of the entertainment industry, and we call that copyright. So I want to get beyond rules about whether copyright is good or bad tonight, and I want to dig into what do we want copyright to do, and how do we design a copyright that does it. So I want to start with something that I think many people would agree with, a relatively uncontroversial idea. If you're designing an industrial regulation for the entertainment industry, if you're designing copyright, it should serve as an as an incentive to creativity. So, you know, who gets the lion's share of copyright? Well, it's not the creator, and it's not the investor, it's the digital lock vendor. And the digital lock vendor is not an important participant in the creative act here, which is what copyright's supposed to be protecting. Now, the funny thing is that it wouldn't be hard to write a digital lock rule that didn't produce this outcome, right? All you'd have to say is, it's against the rules to break a digital lock unless you're not violating copyright otherwise. What they've actually said, instead of we'll protect copyright with digital locks, is what they've said is whatever the digital lock locks up, whether it locks up a use that's legal or illegal, we'll spend an infinite number of tax dollars to make sure that nobody ever disrupts that business model. So what company wouldn't take up the government on that offer, right? What DRM vendor wouldn't rub their hands together and say, great, it's like the world's greatest subsidy for anything we can think up and convince people to do. It's a law prohibiting people from disrupting us. It's awesome. Copyright law says that the person who created a creative work isn't allowed to sell it to the customer who wants to pay for it. That can't be what we made copyright law for, right? That's got to be a bug and not a feature. And, you know, even if you can't be arsed to break the DRM, someone else can. And that person then puts that file on the internet. And then the magic incantation you need to know to become a super elite hacker is to sit down and type Prometheus BitTorrent into Google, right? The Venn diagram of all the companies who have a cool idea for a video game and all the companies who can replicate Amazon S3 it doesn't really have an intersection, it has kind of a sphincter, you know? We need intermediaries to provide the plumbing through which our works will flow, because without them, we would have to bear the cost of distribution and the cost of production, and most of us can't do it. It's never a good idea to have stuff that your computer can't see, because one of the reasons we ask our computer what it's doing is because we want to check and see whether or not it's infected with software that, for example, turns on our webcam or reads all of our passwords or plunders all of our files or listens to us while we're talking. Everything we do in the physical world will increasingly require an online component. You and I and all of our children are increasingly inhabiting a world in which internet policy affects every corner of our lives. We can secure livelihoods for creative people, and we can preserve technology's power to liberate. We need to keep the creative industries where they belong, on the side of free speech, free assembly, and freedom of conscience. Thank you.